Why is it showing up? Can you guys hear me?
I can. Hi, Bev.
Hi, Tasha. Christy has to leave tonight. I don't see Leslie yet. And I'm not very good at doing this, so we're going to ask Leslie to share her screen. So you guys may see me as Christy, but I'm not Christy. I'm not sure how this is working. So
Good evening, all. Can you hear me? This is Dave. Are you there, Beverly? Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Dave.
Okay. Oh, I see Leslie shows
Yep,
up.
yep,
Good.
she was, I was just gonna tell you, she was trying to get in.
Okay, just in time.
Yep, okay, everybody here?
Yeah.
Go ahead and get started. So this is the Columbia Township Planning Commission public hearing and regular meeting located on Zoom. Today is November 11th, 2021, and we will call to order at 7:01 p.m. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll do a roll call. Please remember to state from where you're calling. Dave?
Yes, this is Dave Marcelletti, attending remotely from Columbia Township, Van Buren County, Michigan.
Thank you. Beverly? Bev, are you there? I see Beverly on the screen. Can't hear her yet. Let's come back to Beverly. Anita?
This is Anita Manley attending remotely from Columbia Township, Van Buren County, Michigan.
Thank you. Cheryl? Cheryl had said that she might not be able to attend this evening. Okay, Beverly, are you here? Was she present earlier? Does anybody know?
Yeah, she was here earlier.
I don't know why she's showing up as a C, but in the meantime, Leslie Elrod attending remotely from Kearney Township, Antrim County, Michigan. And one more call for Beverly. Yes, since we're not hearing from her, we will bring her in later in the meeting. I see a hand raised from Gruss.
Yeah, Leslie, I think that Beverly was trying to sign on with Christie's computer and that occurred before you signed on. So I don't know the status, but I was just letting you know that.
Okay, thanks. I wondered why it was a C and thought there might be something with that.
Yep.
Okay, and Christy, do you know anything about Bev's status? Okay, well, we will go on at this point. Are there any changes to the agenda as presented?
Not from me.
do have one change that I would like to make under old business. And that is the discussion of the 4.11 recreational vehicles. We're still waiting for the verbiage from the planning commission attorney.
Okay.
Any other changes? Okay, then I would like to entertain a motion on the agenda.
Oh, I make a motion that we accept the agenda with one addition for the 411 recreational vehicles.
Okay, so it was moved by Dave. Is there support?
I'll support.
Okay, so it was moved by Dave and supported by Anita to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any further discussion? Okay. We'll do a roll call. Dave,
Yes,
Beverly,
Yes.
Anita?
Yeah.
Oh, Bev, you're on. Okay.
Oh, finally, I'm sorry. It's taken us this long to try to, I've got Christy on the phone, on the cell phone, trying to figure this out. Thank you. Yes, I'm present attending from the hall, Columbia Township, remotely.
Oh, good. Perfect, thanks. Anita?
Yes.
Leslie, yes, motion passes. Let's move on to the minutes. Are there any changes to the October 13, 2021 minutes?
not from me.
I didn't see any changes.
Neither did I. And Leslie, I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that I cannot share the screen. We were going to ask you to share your screen tonight.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Do you guys want it up right now? Let me get it ready to go. Yep, hang on a second. Okay, everybody able to see the agenda?
Yes.
Yep,
Okay, carrying on then, is there a motion for the minutes from October 13th?
I will make a motion that we accept the minutes as they are.
Okay, it was moved by Dave to approve the previous minutes as submitted. Is there a support?
I'll support.
Supported by Anita. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call. Dave,
Yes,
Beverly, Bev, are you there? Anita,
Yes.
Leslie, yes. Beverly, can you speak?
Yes,
Do you approve?
yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. We'll now move to public comments and communications received. At this time, I would like to open public comments at 7:09. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Are there any comments at this time? Yeah, let's see. Let me see if I can see that screen too. I can't see the people who are participating, so if you see a hand raised, let me know.
Russ has her hand raised.
I'm sorry, what was the name?
Russ,
Oh, Russ.
not
Okay.
Karen. Mhm.
Ask her to unmute herself.
I think I just did.
Okay,
Did it
all
work?
right. Yep,
Yeah, I just had a comment. I this public hearing portion kind of snuck up on me. I didn't realize it was a public hearing tonight. And so I guess my question is, I didn't see anything in the meeting minutes from last time indicating you were having a public hearing. And I don't know, this is a question maybe for Tasha. Was it required to publish this one in a newspaper or not? I'm just curious. I just don't like to miss these. So if you can just give me help so that I don't miss them in the future, I'd appreciate it.
It was noticed in the newspaper.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments? Were there any communications received?
I did not receive any.
Hearing no other comments or communications, I would like to close public comment at 7:11. We will move now on to the public hearing of the capital improvement plan. We'll open the public hearing at 7:11. And Tasha, do you want to present the plan or do you want me to?
You can. You guys worked on it way more than I did.
Okay. So the capital improvement plan was requested by the Township Board to be created by the Township Planning Commission in order to better direct and better advise what funds should be spent where, based on public feedback from surveys that were sent out through the tax statements and on the township website. And we discussed this at last month's meeting as well. The general public consensus seems to be that as long as it doesn't cost tax dollars and doesn't basically doesn't impact them, that the public was largely ambivalent about the topic. So the intent was, or the direction seemed to be, that as long as it could be funded by grant monies or external monies and not coming straight from the taxpayer dollar or impacting the taxpayers, then they were supportive of this sort of initiative. So within the capital improvement plan, the committee spent some time looking at what sort of improvements might be needed and looking at what sort of resources were already available in the community to help direct what might be needed and help to create some level of priority for projects that were proposed by community members. Is there anything that anybody thinks that I'm missing as a general overview?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me too.
Okay. So I'm not used to having just one screen. Okay, so at this point, if there's no other additions to that general overview, let's go ahead and open the floor for any audience comments, either for or against, and any correspondence that may have been received regarding the capital improvement plan. So remember, I can't see that screen because of the screen that I'm in. So if anybody's got their hand raised, just announce yourself. And
I don't see any hands raised.
okay, is there anything in the chat box?
No.
Okay. Was there any correspondence on this issue received?
I did not receive any.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the commission members?
Well, I'll make just a general comment that I highly appreciate all the work you did on this. And it's, for me, it would have been an overwhelming task. So I highly appreciate this. I think you did great.
Same here. I agree. Good
Oh,
job.
thanks. It's definitely a team effort. As far as correspondence, the fire department did submit some initial paperwork on being interested in funding some fire department priorities. And I can't pull it up right now. And Christy, if you're on the line, you might be able to speak more to this. But I believe it had to do with updating stations, needing more updated equipment and trucks and a variety of other initiatives. And they were broken up by level, like time need, et cetera, and the general pricing for that. So if this plan is approved by the township, then that will go before the Township Board, is my understanding. Okay, sorry to intervene. Are there any other questions or comments? If no, let's close the public hearing at 7:16. And Christy, if you can hear this, I did get a message from Kate Schrank that she is trying to get into the meeting, but is standing in the lobby. So let's move to new business, which is the discussion and decision of the capital improvement plan and recommendations. So thoughts, et cetera, on the capital improvement plan.
What exactly do you need from us?
Do you have any concerns, or are you generally in favor or not in favor? Because following discussion, then we will move to a recommendation.
Oh, I'm ready to move ahead. I think it looks good.
Okay. Then, Tasha, do we need to vote on a recommendation? I don't think that we do, since we're just making a recommendation. Is that correct?
You need to vote to
Vote on it.
approve a recommendation to the board.
Okay.
Your-
So
yeah,
is
your
there,
motion- Yeah, your motion would be to approve, to recommend to the board.
okay, so is there, thank you, such a recommendation? Or a motion, I'm sorry.
Okay, I will make a motion that we recommend to the board to adopt the CIP plan as written.
Okay, thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Okay, it was moved by Dave and supported by Anita to recommend approval of the CIP to the board as presented. Is there any further discussion? We'll do a roll call. Dave,
Yes,
Beverly? Bev, are you there? Anita?
Yes.
Leslie, yes. Bev, are you able to speak at this point? Beverly is apparently trying to speak. Can anybody see, is there anything in chat?
no,
Nothing in the chat.
Okay, Tasha, can we go forward on 3 out of 4? Would that
Yes,
become
That would be a
unanimous?
quorum, yes. That would be fine. That's a quorum vote.
Okay, who just said yes? Okay, so we'll say yes on a quorum. How would you phrase that? A quorum vote approval?
Yeah, it wouldn't be, yeah, she's not like abstaining. We just can't hear her answer. So hopefully if she can come back on, we could add it.
She messaged me that she was saying yes.
Okay.
So does that count?
I don't know why not. Could she put it in the chat?
I'll ask.
I know it's recorded or something, but I'm not sure how well that works.
One of the harder things about doing virtual meetings.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Can you
Oh,
hear
you
me
are.
now? Oh, gosh,
Yes.
I am so sorry. I'm on Christie's computer, which I'm not familiar with. She just got back in the door. My answer to that was yes. And no, I couldn't access the chat at the time. So
Okay,
yes, with moving forward.
okay. So then we have a unanimous approval for the recommendation to recommend.
Oh, the chat was there. Okay, I was trying to find it over here.
Okay, so unanimous approval of the recommendation to approve
I don't know
the
the damn password.
plan as written
I
to the
couldn't
board.
even log in my own.
Correct.
Okay, and just for.
I couldn't get in to say anything.
Just for.
Should I
in
say
case
something now?
anybody's-
Right here, the CIP draft. Leslie, can you hear me?
Yep,
When we're saying approving it as written, does that include the section that we've added for the fire department?
which section that we added?
Yeah, and I couldn't get in. Correspondence received, but
The correspondence for the public hearing.
Currently, it's the same plan that was brought forward at last month's meeting.
Okay, so did you guys, share with, you and Tasha, the, information that the fire chief submitted? Did you guys talk about that?
can't the board add that?
If we're gonna be rewriting it.
When it was correspondence, I was not, when they were talking about correspondence, I could not
Yeah.
get in.
Bev, you're not muted.
Oh, that's okay. You guys can hear that. When it was correspondence, I could not get in to ask about that email.
I did mention it. I don't know if you heard it about the email from Dave about requests coming forward for the fire department that had given prices or approximate prices and prioritization by dates.
I probably missed that because I was so frantic trying to do the other things. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Just making sure everybody's clear. The township board will do the final approval or make the decision on the approval of any final documents. So if there are changes that the township board would like to make, that will be up to their discretion. Okay, is there any other new business that's, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to be clear that if this goes to the township board as written, then we have to hold a separate hearing if we change it.
Oh, okay, thanks for the clarification. Any other new business that's come before the commission?
Did they vote on it already?
I believe we did.
Yep.
Oh. Okay,
If you need the details, Christy, I can give that to you later if you want.
wow, you guys, I'm just really surprised. I wasn't expecting the public hearing to open all that. Okay.
That's if you were talking and you kind of faded off.
I said I was just really surprised. I didn't expect a public hearing to go that fast.
Oh, there were no public comments about that. So anyway, okay, well then let's move on to old business, which is continuing the text amendments. And since we are not discussing the 4.11 tonight, we are looking at the parking standards and the minimum dwelling regs, if any. Oh, sorry, if time. So let's
Leslie?
pull up. Yep.
I'm sorry, I know this is probably, this might be out of order, but I know that Mary was trying to get in and Kate, I believe, was trying to get in, and I'm not sure if they had a comment for you guys or not and missed it because of me trying to figure out how to let them in. So should we check or is it too late?
I guess we could make that a commission decision. Are you open to seeing if there's any additional comments, and we could take that? I guess we could recall the time and can we do a do-over? Tasha, is there such a thing as a do-over?
You have, you as the board could, just because of the technical difficulties, can for sure open it up again and let them make their comments.
Okay, is there anybody opposed to a do-over?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm-
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can't see who all is in, so there's nobody else waiting at this point?
We've got 2 new people in since we voted.
Okay, so we'll do a do-over, and we will start the public hearing now at 7:26. So the public hearing is on the capital improvement plan to give a brief overview of the plan. Oh, and I'll pull it up on the screen. The Township Board had requested that the Planning Commission create a capital improvement plan in order to better develop plans for the future for projects, capital projects that the township needed. This was surveyed through the summer tax forms to see what the public comments on interest in the community were. Looking at what projects the community found to be a priority, what their specific interests were, et cetera, to help to prioritize. So what this plan does, and hopefully you've had a chance to look over this, talks about the purposes of the capital improvement plan, talks about what a capital expenditure is. So basically it's large physical infrastructure type projects, not just temporary projects. So the projects tend to be expensive and things that will be around for a long period of time. So in looking at this, in addition to soliciting public opinion on what sort of projects were important to the community and what their feelings on that was, we also looked at what sort of resources the community already had at its disposal. So looking at the goals of the master plan, these are the 5 goals that were in the master plan that was approved last year. And so using that as a basis to guide future development and growth and improvements in the community. So we also went through, as I said, looked at the resources that we have, the approximate date where it was on some of the equipment. I believe it had prices, et cetera. We looked at the water resources, this was lake locations, and then looked at some of the governmental type services that we have in the area. So the general public opinion and looking at it as people responded, people weren't necessarily opposed to doing other projects as long as it didn't affect them as taxpayers. So the public was largely ambivalent. The main thing that came through was they did not want to have to pay for it out of pocket. So they were interested in the CIP being largely funded through grant initiatives. Is there any information that I'm missing?
Leslie, can you go up one page? You scrolled past something that caught my eye. Why does it say just right there, library?
I don't know. Oh, because I think that bar for executive summary must have jumped. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, because it looks like it belongs underneath that, because then it starts talking about the library.
Yeah, let's see where this
So it
executive
looks like a
summary
heading.
is supposed to.
It's funny.
That is very weird.
I think it's just a
Wonder-
little typo that we missed.
Yeah, I think so. Must have just jumped because those bars jump.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I move the, excuse me, move the bar that says executive summary above where it says the community and officials of Columbia Township?
Yes.
Okay, so that
Oh,
is
yeah.
one. I
Yeah.
can make that change. Okay, was there any other information that I missed as an overview of the CIP capital improvement plan? Okay, then let's get some feedback for or against the capital improvement plan. And the rest of you will have to help me with this because I can't see.
Mhm.
Are there any comments?
Yeah, this is Christie. Is there a section here that shows what the future plans or goals are?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning of that. What was that?
Is there a section on the future plans in here? Can we look at that really quick?
The future plans on things that you were going to do? Or the
Yes.
recommendations?
Yes.
So looking at we talked about the program areas. I think we gave some examples of it, but because we don't have the proposed, the actual projects would have to go through the decision-making process. But these were the examples of major non-concurring, non-recurring expenditures that might be of interest to community members. Is that what you're talking about?
Never been told.
No, there was a table at one point that was provided that said things along the, so the table had like a project title, an estimated cost, how many years from now we'd like to see it done. That would be a part of this plan. The purpose of this plan is that we can potentially obtain grants down the road. And without having those projects in the plan, we can't obtain grants for them.
There was a table that didn't seem to fit with the master plan, so the committee or the commission had changed it to this sort of table. But if there's something that needs to be added, then because we had the existing capital funding.
And that's why at the last meeting, we talked about having the department heads submit capital plans so that a table like that could be created. It doesn't preclude the board from approving things. It just allows the community to see that there are things that are potentially on the horizon and for us to potentially obtain grants for them.
I think if I remember correctly, what you're referring to was like almost like a separate document.
Yeah, typically it's like at the very end of a CIP or sometimes even an addendum that's updated on a, every 3 to 5 year basis.
So are you talking about basically almost like an Excel sheet that keeps track of programs that have been funded?
Well, it's an Excel sheet that keeps track of programs that have been funded, but also programs that we would like to see in the future. And normally it goes out 10 years. So a lot of them are, you could have wish list items on there. You could have things that are definitely going to be on the schedule in the next year or two. But it's nothing concrete. It's just something saying these are kind of the goals of the township.
Leslie, this is Bev. I'm thinking that I don't know how we could have done that without a direct wish list from the board. Yeah, who would
No, it
decide?
would be from the community. So from your survey, you would be able to gather ideas from the survey on what kind of things the community would like. And then also from the department heads, such as the one from the fire department, giving those ideas.
On page 22, I have an old copy, but on page 22, it talks about future projects. It says review of the project summary worksheet found in the appendix of this report suggests that there are many projects in which the township would like to engage but cannot generate enough funds to achieve implementation.
You want to share your screen so we can see that one?
Oh, it's in my hand.
Oh,
Hold
that
on.
makes it more difficult.
Yeah. Scroll down on your screen. It's towards the end. Yeah, okay, above that.
Is it here in, oh, under future projects?
Above Parks and Recreation, yes, future projects.
Okay. So basically, we just didn't do the appendix at this point in time.
Is that what you're talking about, Christy?
Yes, yeah, the appendix. Yes.
Okay.
I also see a typo there in that section.
You'll be
We're
more
missing-
specific.
Yeah, we're missing, I'm sorry, Leslie, we're missing the word "are." In the first sentence suggests that there should be the word "are" many
Oh.
projects.
But there are many projects. Mhm.
Oh, the judge did say there's 7 things. written out.
That sounds like
The one that was taken off was.
missing would. I don't want to.
Okay, so if we do need to have the worksheet and the planning commission needs to look at the public interest for those, would it be acceptable to have the appendix come after?
My opinion, and granted, I'm just saying this during public comments, is that you could use this hearing to discuss what would go in that worksheet and then approve this with those changes for submission to the board.
Okay, that seems reasonable. Does that seem reasonable to the rest of the commission members?
Yeah, are we prepared to talk about those kind of specifics?
Well, I think we could solicit input from community members. We know that the fire department has submitted some requests.
Okay.
It might be helpful to bring up some of the survey data so that the public that's here can provide some input based off of that survey data on maybe potential projects they'd like to see.
Okay, let me stop sharing so I can find it.
Okay, while we're waiting, the CIP is supposed to be a living document that's updated as needed.
Yes,
Could we just have a blank sheet in there and update it as needed?
it sounds like they want at least a start of what people said they were interested in. Okay, let me share this. Okay, so what you see is the Excel sheet and it's somewhat alphabetical when I try to sort to see what the trends were. So this question was, excuse me, which outdoor recreational activities people enjoyed and would like to have. So there was boating, there were a handful of biking, walking, tennis and pickleball, basketball, because of the way the question was completed. These are all kind of mixes, a variety of different things. There was a dog park, biking, walking, boating. Seems to be quite a lot based on the basically trail type activities and water activities. Scroll down. Some camping and picnics. Some more yeah. Let's see. Just scroll through these real quick. Another dog park, golf course, which unfortunately we lost our golf course. Camping, picnics, soccer.
So parks seems to be on there, different kinds of parks. So, you know, you can use parks for the picnic, for the dog park, for some of those other things that you mentioned.
Right, biking and walking.
Yeah,
So places to do these things.
yeah. So do we want to add, put that like at the top of our wish list?
Sure, so we can put parks. I'm gonna just do parks as a general interest.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Hey,
These-
Leslie, do you
Yeah,
mind if, I'm gonna share my screen because I have access to the graphs that might be a little bit more helpful.
oh, that would be fabulous.
There.
Okay, so that gives us a good example of biking, walking.
So baseball, softball, basketball, biking, walking, camping, picnic, well, maybe not camping, picnics, skateboarding, soccer, and tennis and pickleball and dog park, that can all be, you know, just parks. And then at various amenities, I guess, within the actual park. Swimming could be, that could be in a park also, but that's a bigger undertaking. Camping has its own set of rules. Boating,
Maybe we could say parks and activities that happen in a variety of different parks and water activities.
outdoor, yeah, outdoor activities, parks and outdoor activities.
Yeah, I like the idea of parks, like developing the park back here is something
Yeah.
we've been talking about for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so from a, like, okay, so David,
And it, no, I'm done.
Bob and I were sharing about, I was going to say that from a spreadsheet perspective, you want to put like, park behind hall, development, and then how many, what years would you like to see that project, occurring in? So 2 to 10 years, maybe?
I can't hear you, Christy.
Oh, sorry, this computer's a little funky. So from a spreadsheet perspective for your attachment, you'd want it to say like the hall park or park behind hall development
Yeah.
occurring like 2 to 10 years, so that it's because it's going to be a longer, probably phased process.
Mhm.
And the price point would be will vary based on cost of materials and labor or something like that.
Right. we could, so developing the park by the hall, but would we want to add maybe trying to build another park somewhere that has different or similar offerings? So the whole boating and fishing, isn't that already available? If you got a boat?
Yeah, we've got public access. Yeah, if they have a
Right.
boat and they've got a fishing pole.
Yeah,
Also so we could say, to increase recreational activities, and a dog park could be off of a park somewhere
right,
possibly.
right. A section of a park.
And the township does own 40 acres. When it comes to biking, we already have the Calhaven Trail.
Yeah.
But walking, maybe that would be something to develop with walking trails.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe safety measures along the trail.
Oh,
Yeah.
and actually, we probably are, need to hear some input from the public that we do have available to us tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a reminder that this is actually the public comment time. All board members are still chiming in because we're public too. But anybody that's in the public that wants to chime in is welcome to as well.
Christy, can you go to the next part on the environmental activities?
I love that we had such a good number on nature preservation. That's just my comment. And recycling.
And I'm not clear if the recycling, if they were more interested in, per house, or having a facility where you could go and drop off, say, your cardboard and plastics and things.
That would be awesome.
As a community member, when I read the survey and took the survey, I already recycle at home and drive my stuff somewhere else. I took it as being able to recycle in this community.
Mhm.
Nature preservation could tie in with some of the parks.
Yeah.
The alternative energy may come up again when we're looking at interests about the wind farms and solar farms that have come up before.
Okay.
Mary asked in chat, and I don't know the answer, if there was a swim beach available at any of the lakes that could be available to citizens.
Oh. Like a public beach area on a lake.
Right.
Hmm.
Is there such a thing?
No.
I honestly don't think we have any land, township owned land for that.
Yeah.
And she's clarifying, yes, but not at the boat,
Not a
not
boat
at the
launch,
boat
yeah.
launch. So I'll write that down as something to look into, but I don't think that there's such a thing available currently. But could be something of interest,
Mhm. Could be on our wish list.
right? Maybe some initiatives on organic farming and the rain barrels.
Mhm. What is that? Computer operation assistance? Is that on that? Is that what that's?
Is that teaching people like computer classes, something like that?
I'm wondering. It's what it sounds like.
We do have requests for that here every now and then, so I would guess that that is correct.
Hmm.
Aren't there some, isn't there one or two or some number of people in the area that do that? It's just not free.
I don't know. Bow and arrows. What's that mean?
Probably want someplace to do archery.
Oh, family enjoy participating. Okay. Do you or your family enjoy participating in or would like to? Bow and arrows. Okay.
Okay, can you move to the next one?
Would you like to? Yeah, farm market.
Big interest in farm markets,
Market.
festivals.
Citizen groups.
Yeah, it looks like farm markets and festivals are the biggest interest among these.
Yeah.
And flea markets.
Uh-huh.
That might be able to be combined with farm markets, I don't know.
Right.
I have seen that before.
Yeah, it seems like that happens a lot to get more people to come to the events.
It would be, we wouldn't have a lot of either, so combining and making it one would make it sizable enough to draw a crowd.
Well, at the, if anyone here has ever been to the Bank Street Market in Kalamazoo, they have a few vendors that sell like food related things during the farm market part, but then they have other days where it's not farm market and it's vendors that come like a flea market. So they kind of, it's like a dual purpose outdoor facility. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. How would we go about setting up something like that? Could we as a township put that on? I don't really have any idea how that works.
I would assume that you could do like in the parking lot, like, a number of other towns do, or in the park area where people would set up their tables.
Yeah.
And so perhaps the township would help to advertise that that was occurring.
Who would organize the whole thing? Could the township organize the whole thing?
You would have an event coordinator that coordinated it.
I'd be willing to participate in something like that. If anybody wants to do it.
So it's a public announcement of volunteerism, so you have to watch out. Okay, well, we can look at how that committee would set up later, but
Mhm. Okay.
okay, you want to move down to the top 3 items that the township should spend money on? Is there a graphic for that, Christy?
How is NA a top 3 response?
Cycling
I
was
don't,
the biggest
I don't think these
response
are
out of all of
ordered.
them.
I don't
I don't
think
think-
they're ordered. And for whatever reason, it's not I think it's not providing a graphic because there's so many different things. There's not, any consistency.
Are you on?
Well, there's technology, fiber internet, cell coverage.
When
See
I
that
went
one.
through them earlier and looked for some things that were similar, the top priority at the time was recycling. And then internet and tech, and number
Yeah.
3 was NA.
Yeah, oh, okay.
The second priority was NA, then roads, and then recreation. And then the third priority was by far NA.
Well,
Wow.
maybe one of the items in the spread in the table needs to be a recycling center or recycling location.
At
Set
the
up.
dump.
You already added that, didn't you, Leslie?
Yeah, but I can put a priority on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like what's coming out from what I've looked at this previously was the recycling, recreation. Let me write these down. Internet and technology. And then roads.
Yeah.
Run buildings in Grand Junction, what's that mean?
Oh, that was probably somebody being smart.
Okay,
We had a lot of real fun responses too.
yeah. I'm sure.
There's not from the internet and that type of infrastructure. There's not a lot we can do from a capital improvement perspective
Right.
legally.
Except
So-
at the hall. There's things we
Right.
can do
Yep,
at the
that's true.
hall
We could
to
create a
improve
hotspot.
things. That, computer classes, better technology here.
Yep.
Those are things that are capital, correct?
Yeah, we could include like a Wi-Fi free spot when technology is available.
Did that Verizon tower ever go live?
Yes.
Can't tell it by my phone service.
It did. I could tell by mine. But I'm a little closer. Yeah,
Christy, we can't hear you again.
sorry, this computer's a little funky. The cell tower is live, and we have talked in the past about creating like a guest Wi-Fi access in the parking lot of the hall. We have talked in the past about offering classes on technology at the hall. So those things would be capital because we would need equipment.
Yeah.
So we would need the, Wi-Fi equipment for that particular project. We would need computers for the other project. So those would be things that you could put in the spreadsheet if they were
So-
there.
Here's a stupid question. So with this capital improvement funds, would that be used to pay the person teaching the class?
No,
No,
Okay,
but it could pay for computers that you could set up so that people could learn
okay,
on them.
okay.
That would
Or I
hopefully
suppose
be
you
a
could use them kind of like you would at the library, so when you go and you just access.
Uh-huh, okay.
Hopefully it
Mhm.
would be a volunteer or a grant to help
Mhm.
pay for the cost of someone to do something like that.
Yeah,
I actually saw something that I thought would be great in our parks on, in an AARP magazine, they had a senior outdoor fitness center. It was like, playground equipment. It was like gym hybrid playground equipment for seniors, but anyone could use it. I thought something like that would be great in this community.
Remember the old exercise things they used to have through the parks where they were like the park horses?
Yeah, like a heart trail.
Yeah.
Hmm. You have to walk for a while and then you stop and do some pull-ups or something.
Right. Okay, Christy, is there more further down?
Mm-mm.
Over here.
Oh.
I know there's two of them on there. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I don't like it without a mouse. Some form of voting for part-time residences.
we-
We can't change those
No.
laws.
No, we cannot. All right.
Uh, However, they can vote with their attendance at public meetings.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, look, we've already addressed one of these. County Road 215. What do you know? Yep, need recycling station. Just to clarify, cannabis funds can only be used for certain things, so not always for capital improvements. Depends on what they are. Technically, I believe we could use cannabis funds to provide for the fire department capital improvements because there is a bigger need for fire protection from those facilities. Yeah. Mhm.
Pave all the gravel roads.
What about the dump?
Mhm. Oh, during the week, I see. During the
Oh,
week.
yeah.
Build a marina.
Museum racetrack.
For chat.
Do not want taxes received.
In need of a cell tower? Is that what we were just talking about?
Yeah, I think we still need, we still have a fairly dead spot on the south side of the township.
Yeah. We were talking about that today.
Um, Some of these look like they were entered twice. Weird.
I don't like that.
Okay. That's all of those. You guys don't need to see all these emails. That's really it.
Right.
Looks like some fake emails in there besides.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, the way that the system was set up, you had to enter an email when Ruth was putting all the paper ones in. She put it in
Mhm.
generic email because it required one.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right.
Okay, so it looks like we've got some general areas of interest from the community that we could put into a spreadsheet. We know we do have the capital requests and interest from the fire department. Does anybody know of any other areas of interest that should be included? including anybody from the public. Two taps mean no.
So far, I'm not seeing anyone right now. We have a couple of public comments that you guys have read already, chats. I don't see any hands or anything.
Is there anyone on phone that maybe the chat should be read?
I'm asking the iPhone user to unmute in case they want to talk. Other than that, it looks like we don't have a whole lot.
Okay, well then let's move to commission questions and comments. So I guess to the commission, you'll need just to put a chart together.
Yeah, with the things
Based
that
on-
we kind of talked about.
Right. I don't know that we're gonna know any of the costs.
Right. But it's a place to start.
Right. That looks like a comment just came in. Oh, the iPhone user is Mary Phelps. She says she can't get sound on the Zoom on her computer. Okay, so if everybody seems comfortable with that, then I could put that into the amendment.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yep, sounds good to me too.
Yep, me too.
Are there any other commission questions or comments?
Hope I just unmuted. No. Oh,
Okay, then let's close the public hearing at 8:07.
On this first.
on that.
And then we will move to new business of the discussion decision on the capital improvement plan. Is there any additional discussion on the CIP as amended?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay, do we feel ready to move forward with the motion?
Yes.
And would like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept the CIP plan with the amendments that we have just discussed.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll
Second.
support. Oh, go ahead, Anita.
Sorry.
That's quite all right.
Then it'll say the same thing the first time.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's moved by Dave, seconded by Anita, to recommend the approval of the capital improvement plan with amendment to go to the board. Is there any further discussion on that? To roll, Dave,
Yes,
Beverly,
Yes.
Anita,
Yes.
Leslie? Yes, then that recommendation will move forward to the board. And Bev, once I prepare that, how about I'll send it to you to go forward to the board? Does that work okay? Okay, well, I assume that's okay because I can't hear you.
I just unmuted her.
Okay, so Bev, is that okay? I'll send it to you to take to the board?
Y-
Or do I
Um,
send it straight to
ye-
the clerk?
I
Or
would
both
send
of
it
you?
straight to the clerk. I am going to be in Florida next week.
Oh,
My
congratulations.
granddaughter is getting married. Yes.
Great. Okay, then I will make those changes and send that to the clerk. Again, any new business? I believe there was none. Old business, continuing with the text amendments, starting with the parking standards.
So
Chrissy,
I
do you want to put, oh, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
somebody.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Chrissy, do you want to share that or do you want me to go back to sharing it on my screen? Okay, what were you gonna say, Tasha?
I was just gonna start chatting about it, that the last meeting, we kind of chatted about me providing some other townships and kind of what their parking standards look like.
Mhm.
I have provided a few other township parking standards for you guys to look at. Pick and choose, or just kind of leave ours as simple like it is. Not really sure kind of what direction we wanted to go. I just know that currently the site plan review, kind of under the line where it says C number 5 requires, so when you're preparing a site plan, you have to put the street, driveway, loading space, and the total number of parking spaces in your parking layout. However, this is the only section, the ordinance, that then refers to parking, so we don't really have a standard for what we would like it to look like when it's on the plan. So they're just providing it to us, but we're not then correlating it to a standard of which we would like. So it can just be as easy as, you know, kind of like we have A, B, and C, or it could be a little bit more detailed like some of the other townships. Some of them are a little too detailed, I think, but maybe we could do something in the middle to just help facilitate a site plan when we have one.
Yeah, I like the idea of something in the middle. As I was reading all the others. I'm just thinking that for the lake areas are a little different than the general township in that they're a little more dense. And that may be an area we want to pay attention to some drainage, if there's any drainage issues. I don't know. I'm just thinking here out loud.
And looking at Waverly's, the beginning of it with requiring vehicles to have current license plates or be stored indoors might help with some of the blight issues. Has this been much of a complaint, Tasha?
Right? Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good idea.
The 1101, the parking and storage of unlicensed and commercial vehicles, that part? And the Waverly one?
Yeah, just the section 11.01.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they then also have a blight ordinance, but they, you know, this is, you know, sometimes the zoning, I don't know which one's easier to enforce, zoning or blight, but it would just be another tool to use, I guess.
And maybe something a little bit more concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like the Ganges one gives more authority to the zoning administrator. Is that the feeling I got from it?
I don't think Ganges gives the zoning administrator any leeway.
Well, not. Okay. Well, maybe I've got them confused, but one of them seemed to give the more discretion to like the zoning administrator or the planning commission.
It does mention the zoning administrator a lot,
Yeah.
required by the zoning administrator.
Oh, gotcha.
Couldn't you get, couldn't that be like a trouble area if we're given discretion to one person instead of just having standards written and then stick with those standards?
I
I'm
would
not
think,
sure what you're thinking.
Good
I would
point.
think the standards should just be part of the site plan review, so, you know, the zoning administrator typically takes the initial application and kind of makes sure it meets the ordinance and then sends it to the planning commission. So the standards would be just during the site plan review in general.
Okay, I couldn't find the spot that they were just speaking of, so I might not be understanding the point that you guys are making.
I think they're referring to the Article 13 where it says site development requirements. Down at the bottom, it says Article 13,
Of which township?
the Ganges Township.
Page 6 in the PDF.
That's Waverly. Andrews. Oh, I see. I have a hard time not using my own computer. I really apologize to everyone.
So yeah, if you kind of read through there, now that I kind of read through here, it says, or as required by the zone administrator, or as required by the zoning administrator. I guess it is in there quite a few times.
Yeah, I just find that a little odd because wouldn't it be as required by the zoning ordinances?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I'm not advocating that you use either one of any of these, or, but some of them have good stuff like setbacks for your parking lots, maybe some sort of green belt to protect the neighbor, lighting standards. Some of them have a few good points. The parking lot size, which I kind of put that in the draft a little bit. You know, when we're doing site plan review, we also want to protect the neighbors, so we want we want a setback of where the parking should be. You can get real picky and say like the parking has to be in the rear and then the building goes in the front. You know, there's just tons of different things you could do. Just a basic setback as to where your parking spaces are required to be. Lighting requirements, the drainage types of things. The drain commissioner typically takes care of a lot of that, but just having a note about stormwater management. So you could have maybe 4 or 5 things to kind of help protect the neighbors and help you facilitate a site plan to make sure that the neighbors are protected from the parking lot standards.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Can it be, do you want it to be paved? Could it be gravel? Does it need to be a dustless material? Does it need to be striped, you know, with the spots laid out with the stripes? Just different things like that. The plants. Do you like the little island things in the middle of parking lots? I don't know that we would ever get a parking lot big enough to have an island in them. But there's just lots of things.
Well,
So
I
right-
like what you wrote, what you have written. Parking area design shall provide safe ingress and egress and adequate drainage. I think that, I know that that's left up to interpretation, but really if the water drains to an appropriate place in a sufficient time frame, isn't that adequate? So I don't know that we need to have more description because every instance is going to be different.
True. And then what is a safe ingress and egress? You know, that's one of those kind of subjective things. So we're just saying, oh, this looks good for this plan.
Now, is that why the road commission approves the driveway entrance? Because they're looking at the safety?
Save ingress
Correct.
and egress.
Yeah, so they wanna, it's part of the driveway management and the access management. So they want to make sure that there aren't too many driveways next to each other. So when you're pulling in and out and then across the street from each other, that there's not, too many driveways, people pulling out, and then they separate them enough to have a safe distance between them. So that's part of their job, is to make sure that where it's located on the property doesn't cause a problem with the driveway to the neighbor.
So
Yeah,
isn't
or-
that they provide safe ingress and egress? Aren't those two sentences kind of go together then? Because the road commission's gonna look at that?
Well, they do, but then also, we're also looking at the interior of it also, even when you're inside of the parking lot, ingressing and egressing also. Or you
Okay.
could just leave it at that, and then each plan would kind of be subjective, and you would be, well, if the road commission is okay, you have another set of eyes.
Right,
And then the drain commissioner will also have another set of eyes. So you have the planning commission and then those other two agencies to help with the safe and the adequate, which isn't a bad thing.
so I like what you have written here.
Just kind of the top.
Uh-huh, yeah. I think last week or last time we talked about it, we decided gravel was okay, but dirt was not.
Okay. Probably like
I made that note.
a dustless material, probably.
Oh, yeah, dustless material. Uh-huh. I like that because they could use crushed asphalt also. So
Yeah, the limestone is quite popular also. That does some sort of, there's like the sand and then the limestone and then there's like the gravel in it. And then when you drive over it and then it gets wet and you drive over it, it like compacts together
nice.
and does this nice little, kind of hardens it up to help with the dust.
Okay. Yeah, so dustless material. Mm-hmm.
So we are actually treating all parking the same because we've got dwellings and commercial and industrial kind of lumped into one thing here. And I feel like commercial or industrial might have more standards than just someone's driveway at home.
Correct. So when we're in the site plan review in the 411 number C, when you do, and that's kind of what I keep referring to, is that your site plan requires that they have this stuff on their plan. But then we go back to this section and there really aren't many standards for us to make sure there's enough parking spaces. Or, that the lighting is correct, or a few of those other a setback of those types of things. So we could itemize them out where the dwelling would kind of be by itself, and then we would put the commercial part, we could have, within the parking section, we could have like an A, B, and a C, or a 1, 2, and a 3, and kind of have the dwelling separate, and then the commercial part, like an A and a B or something, we could do that.
And I like your section on the downward facing lighting that doesn't interfere with the peaceful use of adjoining property. I think that might be something important.
Yeah, I like that wording too.
And then
That
I think really, go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry, the only question I had on us just saying adequate drainage, how do we determine what adequate drainage is? And at what point do we determine that? I mean, can you tell from a site plan from, I've not had to do any of this, so.
So kind of when we get into the site plan review requirements, there should be something in there that they're required to put on their plan, what their stormwater management plan is. There'll also be a topography map that's required, so you kind of know what the topography looks like. None of us are civil engineers, so we really don't
Right.
know what adequate drainage means. But the drain commissioner in the county is required to review the plan also.
Okay,
So the applicant sends the plan to them, and they're the engineers who are actually reviewing the plan also.
okay,
Or,
so in your experience, is this works out well, this wording is, are you comfortable with it?
yeah, I think so. When we're kind of, or it could just say, you have to provide stormwater management how you're gonna manage the stormwater. And then that's kind of, they're kind of subjective terms. Maybe we could come up with something a little bit better. But I think it's probably in the site plan review section already, so we could kind of take the language maybe from that and not reinvent the wheel.
Okay,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
and okay, so the setbacks, do we have a requirement on that, or is that just,
So we do not have any setback for parking lots at all. That was kind of probably one other thing I would like to kind of have. And then we'll just have, the 3 or 4 things. So we're not overwhelmed with criteria, but we have just
Right.
enough to, kind of protect the neighbors. A lot of them, the setback is like, 10 feet or 20 feet. And then there's like this green belt or a buffer to kind of, the Waverly one, theirs says 10 feet from the lot line. So each of the townships kind of have a different setback as to where the parking is.
and I guess it would kind of depends on what kind of road they're on too.
Right, well, your commercial district is basically in town.
Right,
You have
on a county
very
road.
few scattered commercials about the township, so, you're pretty much commercial is strategically placed in town for the most part, so.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to, to rewrite anything. I like the things that you have, and I do like having the lighting included.
Let's see, it looks like, yeah, kind of most of them are about 10 feet. That's kind of what I can see from the, yeah, so basically you have your property line and then you would have like, pretty much a 10-foot buffer, and then the cars would park, pretty much right, 10 feet from the property line. But if you're in a commercial district, typically the lot sizes are small. So I'm not sure you could have a much larger setback. See what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I think having a setback is good. I don't think it has to be huge, especially here for commercial, and I don't picture any industrial coming in. What we have is the Blueberry marketing place over there, and that's already a done deal, so 10 feet sounds reasonable.
It's a start, I guess. We could kind of just pencil that in, I guess, to start. Kind of get it in writing and then kind of, look at it again when it's all together.
Right.
Sometimes that brings it a little into perspective when you're, going through it, all in writing to see what it looks like.
Sure.
So what does everyone else feel about kind of separating kind of separated the dwelling, commercial, warehouse already, but it's kind of separating them even more into like the dwelling really standing alone and then the rest. So when we're in the site plan review, we kind of then refer back to the parking. And then we can just kind of go right to the commercial or the industrial. And we don't have to pick through the dwelling, you just kind of go right to it.
Yeah, I see where we need different standards for like residential and commercial. Because residential could be real simple and the commercial could have all these other requirements on it.
Right, so the dwelling, you know, pretty much I just have 2 10 by 20 parking spaces off the right of way located on the same lot as a dwelling. And that A could just kind of stand alone. And then we could then go into, you know, the B and the C and then combine the, you know, the parking design, the lighting, and then the setback kind of together with the B and C somehow, letter it or number it to have it flow better.
Right.
And then you do, yeah, basically you have the 3 or 4 standards, you know, and then, you know, I guess if we get a site plan and you go through the site plan and you're like, oh, I kind of wish there were more, then, you know, you could always revisit it if you think it should have more.
Well, I'm happy with, if you want to do the keep it simple method, I'm happy with that too.
For me.
Okay. Well, I'll kind of reorganize it a little bit and then add the few standards that we chatted about. And then, yeah, if you want to kind of go through the other parking ones and see if you like something in there, you know, we can kind of always add it in if there's something in there that you really like. If you have time to go over them again.
Hey, there's just one thing is on my mind about the residential because of a situation we had, and I did not see it in person, so I don't know exactly if it was a problem or not. But with the lake homes, many of them being so close together, when someone does do an impermeable type driveway, does the drive, you know, the asphalt or the concrete company, are they the ones that tell them this drainage is fine and it's not going to throw all the water into your neighbor's yard or driveway? I mean, I just feel like that area is different, and I'm out of my comfort zone here. I don't know enough about this stuff other than sometimes when they're too close, it can create problems for the adjoining, you know, the property next to them.
Like the driveway in general, or basically just general construction and grading and moving dirt?
No, a driveway in general.
So a lot of the lake properties are on the fire lanes that have, so no permit is required because they're not public roads.
Oh,
So
okay.
unfortunately, a lot of the lakes, you know, some of them have public roads, but a lot of them are private. So driveway permits aren't required on private roads. So a lot of them, there isn't a permit that's required or a standard.
Well, I guess I would be speaking of the ones that are where they are required. And I'm kind of asking a question here, not making a suggestion because I don't know enough about it. So do you feel like just the plain standard 10 by 20 parking spaces off the right of way on the same lot as the dwelling, do you feel like that is fine for the lake area homes.
Well, let's see. Well, most people today are a 2-car family. So in general, there should be enough parking to park your 2 cars on your property and not in the road. But a lot of people don't really even have a parking standard for a dwelling, so most people have 2 cars. So if we just go by the normal household, there's 2 cars, and those 2 cars need to be not parked in the road.
Right.
So when we're doing, and then some of the lake setback, their front setback is like 20 feet, and a car is 20 feet long. So, you know, sometimes your house is barely enough for you to park in the property. I don't know that there's a problem of people not being able to park.
Well, it wasn't the parking, it was, I guess it was more like, we had a complaint that somebody put in a concrete driveway. Do you remember that?
I
And then they
do.
were saying there was no drainage that, or, you know, it drained onto other people's properties. And so I was wondering if this is the kind of thing that can even be addressed, given the density of the areas
So there
around the
would be
lakes.
language that could be put into the ordinance to help regulate water runoff. So when people do things to their properties, that they can't create a nuisance basically to their neighbors or cause water runoff to the neighbor with whatever they do. And then they're required to retain or distribute their water runoff not to the neighbor. There could be language like that put in the ordinance. That would be probably the one thing that would help with that.
Thank you. That's exactly what I meant. And I did not
Sorry.
have your words. Thank you.
Yeah, so it would be a drainage type of language. It wouldn't really have anything to do with parking or a driveway, but it would be water runoff or stormwater management or drainage type paragraph or something or other. So
Well, I was thinking that because of the sentence, parking area design shall provide the safe ingress and egress and adequate drainage. But I was thinking of that in relation to a private dwelling. So thank you.
okay, that could be something to entertain or put on our list if that would be something.
I would like to see that on the list. I don't want to stop anyone from having a driveway or anything like that. I just feel like when you're located that close together, you have to have some consideration, and sometimes you need rules to make that happen.
Sometimes, yes, when you have all those small lots together, that's, you know, a lot of them, but they fill in their lot, so then they're higher than the neighbor, and then their water does drain, so that's really, the driveway issue was really the one only real, I think, complaint or concern that I had about any of the water runoff. I don't know that anyone else has called me about water running off from their neighbor, so I mean, if it is happening, they're not calling me every day and complaining.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of add that to the list.
There's some stuff in the chat.
Standards should be specific, comprehensive, and objectively determinable to the extent possible. That said, there will be a good cover, I'll put in the short paragraphs. There are not any requirements for parking in the site plan requirements currently. The only thing that it refers to is this 411C number 5. which basically says it's just required to be on the plan, but there's no standard for it. So I do have on our list to go over the site plan review regulations at some point when we get to that on our list. So that when we do a site plan, we make sure that everything that we want to look at or want to look at is in there. Because I do think that some of the things are inadequate, so that's another discussion. I don't know if that answers the question.
Could we put that on next month's agenda?
The site plan review,
Yeah,
we can, it's on my to-do list. Site plan review, a few updates. Yes. We can. Are we ready to move on from this one?
Think so.
I am.
Or could you give a summary of what you think it's gonna look like, or what changes will be made?
To this to the part, this section right here, the parking?
Yeah,
Yes. Yes, I'll kind of redraft this particular section to put it in a ordinance format, I guess you would call it.
okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, we-
currently 8. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was just saying, we can move on.
Okay. I was just gonna say it's currently about 8:45. So do you want to do minimum dwelling regs or hold off on that?
I don't even see it.
I kind of just put on there in case we had time, because I wasn't sure if the improvement plan was quick, then we might have time. If not, I mean, it's already almost 9.
How about we hold on to that, especially since that's not included in the link here?
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. Is there any other old business that's come before the commission?
I do not have any old business.
Okay, let's move on to reports then, the zoning administrator report. And Tasha, I know you included your report, so I don't know if you have anything you want to add or if there are any questions about the report.
Looking for it.
I think we skipped something on old business. Do we want to move that to the next meeting or the 4.11?
Oh, you might not have been able to hear at the beginning. We removed that from this month's agenda
Oh,
because we're waiting
okay,
for feedback.
I'm sorry. Great, good. Thank you.
Okay, anything to add or any questions for Tasha on the zoning administrator report?
Not for me.
Okay, is there a ZBA representative report this month?
I have no report.
Okay. Township Board member report?
I have no report.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to open up public comment at 8:44. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Are there any comments at this time? I don't see anything new in the chat. Christy, did any comments come into you?
I do not see any at this time.
Okay. And hearing no other comments, I'll close public comment at 8:45. And then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn the meeting at 8:45.
Okay, it was moved by Anita to adjourn the meeting at 8:45. Is there support?
I
I'll
also,
support.
everybody will support.
Okay, so it was motioned by Anita, supported by Beverly to adjourn the meeting at 8:45. Any discussion? Roll call, Dave,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Anita,
Yes,
Leslie, yes, motion passes. So thank you all and have a good night.
thank
And-
you. Good night.
Thank you, Leslie, for all the work on this. I was still trying to be able to speak and I didn't get to thank you with the rest of them. But we all appreciate all the work you've done.
I'm glad that we could all
Yes.
work together on it. It was definitely a village. So, yep, so I will get that out and have it in time for the board for next week. All right, have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Great. And Leslie, just as an aside, would you, when you send the CIP to Christy, would you also copy me?
Yep, I've got that written down to send it to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Yep, not